We're doing the Notre Dame and uh, Depere game tonight. I wanted to get your take on it. I know you're pretty close to those teams, so we'll just go just a few minutes looking just for things we should watch for tonight. Key players, that type of thing. Just and anything you want to just throw in there as far as the importance of this game. Should be a really fun game. You're doing a really great one too, Kimberly and East. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it was hard to pick which game to do, but I can do
I
Depere
know.
Notre Dame again. So,
Now you can
but
do
this
both. Watch ours on your smartphone and watch the Kimberly game in person.
I probably will. um, as far as tonight or the Depere Notre Dame game, Notre Dame, even when they lost to Kimberly, they make things look easy. They run the offense so well with Samuel Pichka, and Kimberly came back and got them. But if you look at the scores of their games, they're just running away from everybody. And I think the thing Depere has to do, and Depere's ran away from teams too, but I think what Depere has to do is they got to make Notre Dame play 36 minutes. They've played 36 minutes probably once all year. And the problem playing Notre Dame is those five girls, whatever five of the top 7 or 8 are on the court, they all can score 10 points or more. So obviously Samuel Pichka is the best player. She's great. The freshman Gracie Gresh has done a really good job. And then you put Charlie Apple and Georgia Gregory, the two other seniors, Sarah Hardwick, Ashley Barrington, and Trista Feta, the freshman point guard. They just have so many options. So somehow you got to make it difficult. And one way you can make it difficult is if Depere's Jordan Millman scores 30, which he's very capable of. She might be the best pure scorer, at least in our area of northeastern Wisconsin. The 6-foot guard she can get things done. And they have an inside girl with Sophia McCarty that can make things happen. But I think Depere's got to play better than Notre Dame because I think Notre Dame's a little bit better right now.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting because both these teams have star power, and Depere I think should be undefeated. They lost one game to Appleton North that it's kind of a head scratcher, but this will be a single digit game, and if Millman's gets going and she gets help, they can give Notre Dame a problem.
What do you think Notre Dame does on Millman defensively? Because to your point, she's the main scorer and she's going to be the focus of attention, whereas you can't really do that on the Notre Dame team. So who guards Millman tonight for Notre Dame, do you think?
I think they'll start with Georgia Gregory. She's normally the girl that they put on the best scoring wing. But if things get tight, Samuel Pichka will go there. And the best thing about Samuel Pichka, and sometimes it's a cliche with kids or players, they can guard all 5 positions. Well, she actually can, and she does. She can guard the center, and she can go guard the point guard at 6 foot, and she's long. So I think if it gets tight late, maybe you see the two D1 stars go up against each other. But starting out, I would assume Georgia Gregory. And the great thing about Notre Dame is they have such great depth. They can probably rotate girls if someone gets in foul trouble.
Well, that's the next question I have. Tempo-wise, would you expect Notre Dame to try to run fast tempo on this Depere team, certainly because of the depth they have and just the offensive capabilities they have against a team like this?
Yeah, they're going to run. They will pull it out of the net when Depere scores, and they will still try to run. And the reason why they run so well is everyone can handle the ball. Usually it's Charlie Apple or Samuel Pichka or Trista Feta, the freshman, but they can run. And the problem with them is they're really good in the half court. If you watch them, when they're running their half court the best, the ball doesn't hit the floor too much. It's a lot of pass cuts, and all of a sudden someone gets a layup. So they're adept at both places, but Notre Dame's going to want to run.
Is Depere from I assume from a conference standpoint, that's the closest, the biggest challenge that Notre Dame's going to have the rest of the year, competition-wise.
Yeah, nothing against the rest of the conference.
Right.
After you have Notre Dame, you have Depere, and then it goes way down.
Everybody else.
And it's just it's that type of year right now where these two teams have great talent, even beyond their number one kid, and no one else can really match them. So you don't want to say it's a 2-game FRCC season, but in some ways it is, because I don't think either of these two teams will lose a game outside of playing each other.
Going into postseason, we're a little early yet, but as we kind of make our way there, we'll be there in 3 weeks actually. Do you think it would be a surprise to not see Notre Dame advance through sectionals and into the state tournament? I would have to say it would be a surprise if that weren't to happen.
The way they're playing, I expect them. And then Maddie Wilkie at Beaver Dam's not playing.
Right.
And they actually play Beaver Dam on Saturday at Beaver Dam. So we'll get a good view of how Beaver Dam and Notre Dame match up. But if Notre Dame stays healthy and plays the way they're playing, I think they can win state. I think if they play Kimberly in a 7-game series, it's 4-3 one way or the other. And their Sarah Rhodey does such a great job that
Yes.
this team has everything. They got senior leadership and they got young kids coming up that can play right away. So they have it all put together, and they usually are smart enough not to get in foul trouble.
And they're battle tested too, Doug. I mean, we talk about the conference, but their non-conference schedule has been has been pretty strong. They beat Neenah, they beat Appleton East, they beat the only loss was to Kimberly. Beat I believe they beat Hortonville as well. So I mean, the
And West
resume
Depere.
the resume is really good.
Yeah, I was at the Appleton East game. I was really excited because, wow, this is gonna be a really good game. Well, it wasn't. Notre Dame ran away and hid from Appleton East, which Appleton East is a really good team.
Yes.
And they were ranked 1 in the state at that time. Not that state rankings mean you're number 1 or 2, but they took it to Appleton East. So they were really, really impressive. So they haven't dodged anybody. And I think the thing with the scheduling this year is people aren't really doing the holiday tournaments. They're staying closer to home.
Right.
And when you stay closer to home in our area, there's so much good girls basketball that you get all these really good matchups. So they've tested themselves, and quite a little bit of a surprise they haven't been tested more outside of the Kimberly game, but that just speaks volumes of how good they've been playing.
Well, let's shift gears just for a couple minutes. I'd love to talk about the game that you're doing tonight, Kimberly and Appleton East. Thoughts on that one? Again, that's one of those games where it could go either way. I was surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised. I actually called Neenah beating Kimberly this week, and it's one of the rare times I was right. But I think Neenah is one of those under the radar type of teams that kind of sneaks up on people. And Ali Zabel having a great season for the Rockets, and got to watch out for those Rockets this year, I think.
Yeah, I watched that game. I wasn't at the game, but I watched it anyway on a replay. And Neenah's good. I mean, are they as good as Kimberly? No, but they got them that night. I watched the first game too, and Kimberly jumped out and ran away from them. And Neenah kind of came back, but Kimberly was just too far ahead. I think Neenah, though, felt that they could play with them, and they did that. And then they only lost by 3 to Appleton East on Friday. So now Appleton East gets Kimberly. This is for the league and the lead in the FBA. And the first game was a 20-pointer by Kimberly. And I'm pretty sure Appleton East remembers that. And my key in this game, seriously, is we know that La Chapelle and Hansford are D1 recruits.
Yeah.
But Sammy Byer, to me, is the key, the sophomore guard. I think she's under the radar big time.
Couldn't
she
agree
can
more.
Play. She can hit threes. She runs that offense well. And what happened against Notre Dame when they played, Notre Dame didn't let Hansford stand and shoot the 3. They made her have to put the ball on the floor. And that's probably not her strength right now. But Sammy Byers,
she's a spot-up shooter for sure.
Yeah, she's a great spot-up shooter. You just can't give her spot.
Right.
But Sammy Byer, to me, I think if she has a big game tonight, and Troy Cullen knows how good Sammy Byer is. This isn't a secret, but Kimberly will be aware of her. And I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch.
Appleton East is one of those teams I can't quite put my finger on where this team is. I mean, we did their game against Hortonville, and they could have played anybody that night, and they would have just trounced them. But then you look at their season, they've lost games that are head scratchers, and I'm not sure exactly where the ups and downs are with this team. But if Kobe Clark can hit some shots, if Lily Hanford can hit some shots, La Chavelle's going to get her points. You know that. I struggle to find a team that could beat this team in Division I this year. But it's the key of, are they going to be on?
Yes. Appleton East, La Chapelle does everything. And that's the problem and I think in the big games, she's forced to do everything. And what I've seen against the really good teams is Hansford is a great spot-up shooter, and the really good teams know not to give her that catch and shoot. And what happened, the Notre Dame game, she wasn't even on the court. She was they just took her out of the game, and Byer had a better game. And that's why I think if Byer can help La Chapelle tonight, it could free up Hansford for some open threes. But on the other side, I think Maddie Schreiber might be the most complete inside-outside player, at least in our area. She can shoot a 3. She can post. She has great footwork. She can handle the ball as a point guard. She's a lot like Opitchka. And, she's a problem because you don't know how to guard her because she'll take advantage of whoever you put on her.
Yeah, I would say her and Wilkie are 1A, 1B. I mean, kind of take your pick between those two, and they're both, amazing players. One thing I was going to ask or add, I guess, would be, with Appleton East, Hortonville tried that approach of really packing down on La Chapelle. They really keyed on Hanford in the first half, and I thought they did pretty well. The problem is Kobe Clark just hit a bunch of threes. I think she's almost kind of the wild card too. If she can get on early, and Kobe's one of those streaky type players. If she can hit early, it could be a long night for they're playing because you don't have resources to guard all of those players.
No, and here's my thing: do I want La Chapelle beating me? No.
Right.
You got to figure a way. You're going to live with a support player. Well, she just made her shots in. Okay. But if you look up and say, we gave up 30 to La Chapelle and 20 to Hansford, you're like, that's what we couldn't do. We got to make someone else step up. And Appleton East has kids that can step up, as does Kimberly. But to your point, yeah, I will live with someone shooting a three that isn't La Chapelle or
yeah.
I can't let them get 15 to 20 shots. If someone else does, I can live with that.
Doug Ritchay, thanks for your time, my friend. Have fun over at Kimberly tonight, and check in with us. Let us know how that game's going. We'll pass it along. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Looking forward to it, and I'll do this anytime. Anytime you need to talk,
great.
Give me a call.
You got it. Thanks so much, Doug. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks.
All right, you bet. Bye-bye.